After weeks of intense debate in Kenya, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was finally impeached on Thursday, October 17, 2024. However, his impeachment seems to have opened a can of worms rather than silencing him, as he's now in court challenging the process. In yet another political divorce in Kenya, Gachagua has gone bare knuckles on his boss, President William Ruto, accusing him of orchestrating his impeachment. Gachagua has also claimed that the impeachment motion against him was a culmination of persistent persecution and 2 failed assassination attempts. In this special edition of The Perspective, we look at the political situation in Kenya, what the impeachment against Gachagua means, and the way forward. Joining me today is Wycliffe Nyamasege, a fellow journalist here at IGIHE, and a specialist in regional affairs. Wycliffe, thanks for honoring my invitation and making time to come to The Perspective.
Thank you so much, Sam. You know, it's as if we are following a drama series from Kenya.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. So, Wycliffe, bring us to speed on the developments in Nairobi.
Yeah, since we were here last time, last Wednesday, that was October 16th, the impeachment motion against Gachagua was finally tabled in the Senate, and the resolutions of the National Assembly were finally tabled in the Senate on Wednesday, October 16th. And the Senate debated the matter for 2 days. Gachagua was given a date to appear before the Senate, that is on Wednesday, October 16th. So they started with hearing the case from the National Assembly. You know, the National Assembly laying their case why they impeached Gachagua. Then lawyers from both sides, from Gachagua's side and from the National Assembly, which brought the case to the Senate, were given time to explain their case. And on Thursday, the following day, Gachagua was expected to appear in the Senate to defend himself. It was a defining moment for him. So because in the whole process of impeachment, being given an opportunity to defend yourself is everything. It is a very important part of the process. So Gachagua appeared in the morning. He was in the Senate in the morning, following through the process.
On the day of impeachment?
On the day of impeachment. That was Thursday, October 17th. But something unusual and quite dramatic happened in the afternoon. When it came time for Gachagua to appear and be cross-examined by the other teams, the guys who brought the case to the Senate, the deputy president was nowhere to be seen.
He was sick. He said he was sick.
At first, nobody knew what was happening because when Speaker Amason Kingi told the lawyers to bring their witness, who was the only witness actually from the defense side, they didn't have any other witness. It was just Gachagua. And he was told to stand, to take to the podium there to defend himself. The guy was nowhere to be seen. So the speaker asked the leading counsel for the defense, "Where is your witness, man?" And then he said, "I don't know where he is." And everybody was quite shocked. "You don't know where your witness is? What do you mean?" Then he asked for a few minutes to go and
consult
and look for the witness.
Okay.
So he was granted a few minutes and came back and told the House that the deputy president had been taken ill. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming. For me, on how I looked at it, it was just, I sympathize with the deputy president, but for me, it's more critical than that. And I'll be explaining that in this as this show progresses. So The lawyer requested to be given more time to go and consult. So the House adjourned for about 2 hours to give him more time to go and see the witness who is at the hospital. After a few moments, after like 2 hours, he came back and said, the proceedings can't continue without the witness. We are requesting you adjourn for some 72 hours.
Which was the most ideal thing to do.
Yeah, if you look at it from that angle, because there are so many ways of looking at it. Then the speaker said impeachment is a time-bound process, so you can't request it for 72 hours. The days that, according to him, it was expected that the proceedings had to end by Saturday, like it was the 10th day of, you know how the Constitution talks about impeachment. It is still debatable because many experts are saying that it could be prolonged, but according to the speaker, Saturday was the last day. So they tabled another motion in the Senate to try and ask, because this is not a decision for the speaker to take. The House has to take a stand on the matter, like what
collectively,
yeah. So he had to consult the House, and the House voted. So initially, the request
they
was
voted in the absence of the witness.
The witnesses were there. The
defense witnesses.
Deputy President Ruto was not there, but the lawyers were there before they staged a walkout later on. So they were there. Then the motion was tabled. Then the Senate voted, and they opposed the proposal to adjourn the proceedings to Saturday. To give Gachagua more time to seek treatment. It is at that point that the defense team was aggrieved. Then they staged a walkout. They said they couldn't continue with the proceedings without the witness.
So, in your view, do you think it was right to have voted without him, and yet he had communicated that he was sick?
For me, I said I look at this thing critically. Assuming we see a lot of cases in court where, some people fail to appear in court through, some say feigning illnesses. And if this was a trap by the deputy president to derail the process, because he had gone to court seeking to stop the process, but he couldn't get the orders to stop the impeachment process. So I saw it as a way whereby the Senate could have made an error by falling into that trap. Because now if Gachagua, the way he is in court, he's challenging the process. Like, you guys impeached me without my presence. It'd be so hard for the Senate to defend itself, considering that you impeached a man who was still in hospital.
He was not actually given chance to defend himself.
So assuming, I'm not saying he was feigning illness. Assuming he feigned illness to create loopholes, a legal lacuna in the process, then the Senate fell for it.
And that means Gachagua was very bright.
Smart. If that is what happened. But if indeed he was sick, we are very sympathetic for him.
Yeah, all right. Before we come back to Gachagua himself and his claims that his life is in danger, let me ask you one thing, a quick question. At the beginning of all this, when this was just all starting up, it seemed to me that after a very short while, after the parliament had passed the motion to impeach the deputy president, His Excellency William Ruto almost immediately nominated a successor to Gachagua. It seems as though even the members of parliament and the senators who even attempted to impeach him in his absence all don't like the guy. And yet, when he had just come into office, a darling of many at the time he entered office, has all of a sudden turned the other way around and he's becoming an enemy of the whole nation.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is so?
I think let's first talk about the how quick the president was quick to nominate a deputy, because I feel this is something that had already been decided. They had agreed that they don't want this guy, so impeachment was the way to throw him out. That's why you are seeing the process being expedited. Like everything seems to be well planned. How the Gazette notices were being issued, like Gachagua is impeached at around 11 p.m. Thursday. Then shortly after, you see a Gazette notice. Why couldn't the Gazette notice wait until like the following day? Then the following day, you go to the National Assembly. The first thing, the National Assembly Speaker, who had, even before the impeachment, gazetted a special sitting, because I feel like they were anticipating the impeachment of Gachagua in the Senate. So they already knew that the Senate, it's like it was a predetermined kind of a thing. Like they knew that he is going to be impeached. We have this number of votes. So early in the morning, the president is going to send the name of the guy to the successor. Then the National Assembly sits down to approve the name. It is as if everything was predetermined. And obviously, my answer to your question is there are people who are uncomfortable with Gachagua, and that is the government itself, because of the reasons that we are going to talk about. So they had to,
Actually, I want you later in this conversation to give me some of the reasons why these two people have fallen out. Yeah. But before we get there, why is Gachagua saying his life is in danger?
Yeah. So Gachagua, to answer your question, Gachagua, after as we said, he was admitted at the current hospital with chest pains. That is what the doctor said. He was admitted at the hospital with chest pains, with a risk of, he said, with a risk of suffering a stroke. He actually said that if he was late by 20 minutes to reach to the hospital, we could be talking about a different case. You understand by what that means?
Yes. Is that why his life is in danger?
So immediately after he was discharged from the hospital on Sunday, he addressed the media, and he threw not one, not two, but several punches at the president, as you called it, bare knuckles. It was his first time hitting at the president directly. He accused him of many, many things. Like he talked about 2 poisoning incidents. That one was August 30th. That was when they were in Kisumu. They were launching there was a tour. Immediately after they brought in, Kisumu is a region mainly that has been in the opposition for a long time. But after the Gen Z protests, Ruto formed a quite sort of an expanded government, a broad-based government. So they brought in, there were some politicians from the area who were given cabinet slots from Kisumu. Kisumu is part of the Nyanza region. So they went there to kind of tour the place and launch some projects. The president and the deputy were there. That was in August. Then 30th, Gachagua claims that while there at a hotel room in Kisumu, state operatives attempted to poison him. He claims that they accessed his room and attempted to put some poison in his food, but his team detected it, and they were able to escape that. He called it an assassination plot. Then he talks about a second incident that happened in Nyeri. He says the same state operatives, another team, attempted to poison him and other Kikuyu Council of Elders. He survived it. He also talked about his security being withdrawn, having highlighted the two assassination attempts, as he calls them. He said his security had been withdrawn, and he felt like his life was in danger. So he told Kenyans that if anything happened to him, then President Ruto should be held to account.
Wow. So it seems clearly Gachagua has become a state enemy to the level of being assassinated. Well, we shall just wait to see how that comes to play. But has he given any reasons for his fallout with the president? If yes, what are they, and what is the truth in your view?
Yeah, so Gachagua has highlighted like several reasons that he feels are the reasons for his fallout with the president. The first thing, as we said last time, is about him being truthful about, the day-to-day running of government. So he says that he told the president that don't overtax the people. Businesses are closing down because of overtaxation. So he says the president was a bit uncomfortable with that. And remember, that was one of the reasons why the youth Gen Z protests occurred in June. Then he also talked about evictions. There are some evictions that have been conducted in Kenya in the recent months, whereby, some people are removed from either road reserves and all that. So he was complaining about lack of support for these people. You are evicting them, but there is little compensation. People are being given like 10,000 Kenyan shillings, more like 100,000 Rwandan francs. Where can that take you? 100,000 francs if you have been evicted from where you have called home for many years. Then he also talked about the Adani deal. Adani deal is about there's an Indian company that wants to lease the national airport, that is the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, for 30 years at a cost of about 2 billion USD. It is something that caused a lot of protests in recent months, whereby both airport employees and activists were against the takeover of the airport. So Gachagua seems to be among those who don't want Adani to take over the airport. He's opposed to it. So he talked to the president about it, and it seems they couldn't agree. Okay. They couldn't reach an agreement. But as you said, there is also the truth from Gachagua's side, but the president's men also have their side of the story. Currently, it is alleged that there are long-term causes of this, how the two have drifted apart since they were elected. But there are also immediate causes. There are allegations circulating that whatever is said whatever is said in the political circles, there's always some truth in it. So it is also said that, remember on Sunday when Gachagua was at the hospital there, he said that the security operatives who gained access to his room bagged it in the sense that they put some recorders in his room and they were able to, pick whatever discussions he had. It is believed that during that time, when those recorders, whoever recorded them, the president has the recordings of whatever was being discussed. And it is said that during a recent meeting at State House, when members of the clergy wanted to kind of mediate the two leaders, to just, to ask them, what is the problem, to hear from both sides of the political divide, from the president and the deputy president side. The president said that he has evidence that the deputy president was pulling from the other side, like, is the claims you heard about insubordination. So it is said that in that room, where the room that was bugged the deputy president, there are things that he said about the president that made the president very uncomfortable. And since that time, August getting to September, that is when the impeachment plot was hatched.
Wow. Kenya's things are just far beyond what meets the ordinary eye, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Kenya's political landscape, for me, is very, very unpredictable. Yeah, so
And this is going to play out, actually. The way I look at it, it is going to play out for a few months to come before the dust settles.
okay. So who is Kithure Kindiki? He's the proposed deputy president.
Yeah.
After all this noise and chaos, we have now almost gotten to the end of it, because the court ruling is just in a few days as well.
Yeah.
Who is this gentleman that the president has nominated?
Kithure Kindiki is one of, I could call him, he's one of the victims of the former administration. Like we have always said, when President Ruto drifted with his then boss, that was President Uhuru Kenyatta, ahead of the 2022 general election, he had men who stood by him. And this guy, and one of those men who have been in the trenches with the president, the then deputy president, was Kithure Kindiki. He has been a Senate before his appointment. He used to be a Senate in Kenya, representing Tharaka Nithi. So he held the position of deputy speaker in the then
National Assembly.
in the Senate.
In the Senate.
Yeah, in the Senate, the role of deputy speaker. So Kithure Kindiki was deputy speaker in the former administration of Uhuru Kenyatta. So he was among the victims, the people who were kicked out over their allegiance to the then deputy president Ruto. So he was one of the men who were very close to Ruto at that time. And when they were planning to form the next, during the campaigns, he was one of the people who were suggested. He was among the front runners of people who were to take the running mate position. Actually, he was so close to clinching it that members of MPs who were then allied to Ruto at that time, they are said to have overwhelmingly said that voted for him to be the running mate. But, politics and vying for the presidency, I see it as when President Ruto picked Gachagua, he was looking for somebody who has political capital, both great mobilizer and somebody very influential in the mountain region, and somebody who is also moneyed. The Gachagua had the money. Kindiki has been practicing law for many years. He was a university professor, but it's in public knowledge that you can't compare him to Gachagua in terms of money
Resources
and wealth that they have accumulated over time. So he also, I said he's also a lawyer. He also served as Deputy President Ruto's lawyer at the International Criminal Court when Ruto and President Uhuru Kenyatta, when they were taken to Hague over crimes against humanity, over the post-election violence in Kenya that happened in 2007 and 2008. He was among the batch of lawyers that represented Ruto. So they have a long history together. And it is not surprising that he opted to choose him. Even before that, there were some polls that had been conducted in Kenya that put him ahead of the rest who had been nominated to succeed Gachagua.
So it seems to me that it's a case of former oppressed or let's say, former oppressed politicians coming together.
Yeah.
But still, whenever they come together, things still fall apart.
Yeah,
So.
some political interests grow and sometimes they drift apart.
Well,
Like the political divorce that we are witnessing right now.
now that it's very, very soon that the court will also pronounce itself on this particular case of the impeachment.
Yeah.
What options does Gachagua have after this, maybe before or after?
Yeah. I believe right now, as I said, Gachagua has a better chance he has a good case in court. Like I said last time, it is the process. Impeachment is a process. The courts can only intervene if there's a lacuna, there's a breach in the process. If Parliament follow the process that they started with, going to the people to public participation, giving Gachagua to go to the National Assembly and the Senate to defend himself, all that. The process was good so far until Gachagua pulled the last card. So he has a good case, but now the question many people are asking, even if Gachagua is reinstated to be
How
deputy,
is he going to
how
work
is he
with the
going to
president?
work with the man he has accused of attempting to kill him? How?
That's a big question.
Yeah. So there is that. He is going to use that lacuna that in the process to try and it's more of he's not really interested in the position of deputy president, but showing the president that I can fight back, because he knows even if he comes back, how are they going to work together? It's more of I'm not going to die lying down. That's how I see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kenyan politics. We shall definitely keep tabs on this.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your insights today. But I'm very sure very soon, one of these days, I will invite you again, because the Kenyan story is never an ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wycliffe, thank you so much for making time to come and share with us about this Kenyan story. And our viewers, please do the subscription and stay with us, because many more interactive discussions, educative discussions will come your way as soon as we can make time. So from us as The Perspective, we wish you a very good day and God bless you.